What's good, guys? Welcome to today's new episode. We are on our way to go train some jiu-jitsu. If you guys are new to the channel, we post daily jiu-jitsu content, pretty much recording our jiu-jitsu journey. We started off about 8 months in as a white belt, and then one day I just started recording kind of my training sessions along with other things that I got going on. We had a vacation to Japan, recorded that. Also, whenever we travel or go on trips, take you guys along with us. And recently, we just made a new Discord, links in the bio. But still very new to the whole Discord process. Made a whole new account when it comes to Discord. I had probably 15 channels that I used, but a lot of them are inactive. So that's one thing about starting a group or a community. It's kind of like a plant. You got to be able to water that thing, make sure it gets sunlight, make sure it gets some attention, and then that's why I don't want to talk about it every time. I'll mention it here and there, but it is kind of just going to be a free group where people could just talk about whatever they got going on, and eventually we'll make it where we could talk about techniques, training methods, all that stuff. Right now, keeping it very bare bones and simple. And right now, just finished a little meditation. Felt like your boy definitely needed to kind of de-stress. I guess today wasn't necessarily a stressful day, but it was just I was just doing a few things that I needed to get done. There was a lot of traffic today, and it felt like a lot of people were kind of just frustrated. So I kind of felt that energy of I felt like I needed to just relax a little bit. So kind of declutter, and it was good. Able to sit down. I need to get back onto a stretching routine just so we could keep our hips nice and loose. You check out all these guys who do jiu-jitsu, all of them for the most part have crazy flexible guards. They're able to put their foot in the back of their head and do all this crazy stuff. I'm not saying we're going to be able to do that, but we're definitely not going to do that if we don't get a solid stretching routine. I mentioned before, David Goggins has a 2-hour stretching routine he does daily. Definitely not going to start doing that, just because starting something and having it done consistently is a completely different. And I've been starting to learn a little bit about that when it comes to posting daily or trying to train as much as I can. Just like that, it's that constant seeking for improvement and actually being intentional on what you're trying to work on, because you could just approach training or getting work done as just clocking in. You clock into work, bro, showed up today, W. But not quite. You could clock in, you could walk into the gym, and you could stay completely the same. You gotta make sure your diet's on point. You gotta make sure your training methods are up to date. Are you switching things up? Are you pushing yourself to where things need to be in order to grow? Those are kind of the things that you could do. And that's why jiu-jitsu is so cool, because you could really work on whatever you want to work on. Say after training, you're trying to spar, you could see, and you could kind of direct the training where you want it to go, if that makes sense. If you get caught in, say, side control, you're working side control escapes from there. But you guys know what I mean. If you guys are trying to work on a certain entry, trying to work on a position, try to work from there. Talk to your training partners, talk to whoever you're training with. Let them know, hey man, I got a bad hip, got a bad shoulder. And then if they still smash you, you gave them a heads up, and they kind of know that they did that. You know what I mean? So it's interesting on how the training dynamic works. From my personal experience, training has been super fun. It also has been a de-stressor at times. I feel like jiu-jitsu has definitely helped me out in a meditative way, which I can't necessarily explain, just because sometimes it can be very chaotic. You could be very lost and put into survival mode fairly easily, but it does kind of flush out those I don't know, I'm not trying to get all woo-woo and anything, but it does kind of do that where you kind of can't think about anything else. And I think Elon Musk mentioned something on Joe Rogan's podcast, talking about he plays video games, and he does that to kind of be present enough where you can't think about anything else, because he's solving problems. It's you can see it while driving. Someone cuts you off, you're not thinking about your dinner recipe for the later in the day. You're thinking about, oh, this dude just cut me off, but you're in that present moment. So that's kind of the cool thing that I really like about jiu-jitsu. Plus, there's a lot of mental things that you kind of have to confront. Say if you're nervous or you're going to do a competition. Bro, I was so nervous for my first comp, bro. I'm like, damn, son, like I haven't been this nervous since I had to like do a presentation in front of class. And I'm like, all right, let's lock in. And just dealing with those things. So those kind of come along with jiu-jitsu, and it's definitely, there's definitely a learning curve. And that's kind of one of the cool things where you can kind of nitpick and kind of ask your professors on what is helpful, ask questions. But it's not like a one-size-fits-all problem, you know? You're not dealing with, say, if you can't do an armbar, there's several ways to apply an armbar. There's several ways to escape an armbar. But you might have a certain way that works for you that works really well, and it might not work for the other people in class. So that's kind of up for you to kind of find and fine tune, and you could do that with anything. So that's kind of like the cool things that I enjoy about it. And I was kind of thinking about that stuff even during my meditation. I was thinking about what could I really talk about today in today's video that actually, you know, has some impact and maybe kind of help somebody out dealing with the problems that I've dealt with. And a lot of that that I was thinking about is like feeling lost, like feeling inadequate, feeling like you don't have a purpose. And I'm not saying I have a purpose now, but I definitely feel like mentally I'm a lot more focused than I used to be. I used to just like, you know, I would wake up, today's another day, see where life takes me. And now I'm like seeing that, like, in order to get to places that you could imagine in your mind, you have to be able to put in the work. You know, you can't just get a six-pack just trying to think about it in your mind. You really have to cut out a lot of the food that you're intaking. You have to be able to work out. You got to be able to do cardio, and there's a whole process. And for some people it's a lot easier to get a six-pack. For other people it's a lot harder, and there's like more things that are necessary to get the stuff done. But it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It just, for you in particular, it takes a lot of time. And that's something that I have to ask myself all the time, is like, am I willing to put the time in order to get good at jiu-jitsu? Am I willing to put the time in? If I want to make good videos for you guys, I have to sit down and realize it's going to be a long process. It's not just going to come easy. It's not just going to, you're not going to have one video just do well and then you're chilling from there. It's like, it's always what's next. You kind of see that with the UFC fighters. Say if there's a championship fight, knockout in like 5 seconds. You know, they've been building it up for so long, and then it happens. You know what Joe Rogan's gonna ask him is like, who do you want next? You know, there's always gonna be next. There's always gonna be something next. There's always gonna be some new challenge. So might as well have a way to embrace that instead of just kind of looking for what's next and finding purpose and feeling lost. And I tend to just like focus on the task at hand. If I have to wash the dishes, that's the main task, bro. You know, it's like hard to elevate and to be able to do things that take a lot more effort if you're not focused on the small things, the little details. And that's kind of what I was thinking about for a little bit while I was kind of just sitting down on my couch. But yeah, man, if anybody out there feels those feelings of, you know, feeling lost, feel like you need to feel valuable, YouTube's a great resource to be able to find interest in things. Your algorithm knows you very well. You could kind of see where your interests are. You know, there's so many resources online. Literally, you could go into like ChatGPT and you could ask it like, yo, help me out with this and help me out with that. You didn't have that 5 years ago, you know. Now you have that, and who knows where things could be next week. But now it's like the things are so advanced that those questions that I had for so long are literally accessible. But kind of noticing that those things are accessible if you're in the right frame of mind in order to be able to ask the right questions. And I think that's going to be something that's going to be very valuable in order to ask the right questions at the right time, because things are advancing. A lot more information is going to be out there, so you want to know the best information for you at the right time. And we'll see what we could sift through and get through, but we'll see. So anybody out there feeling like that, you're not alone, bro. Like, it's gonna take a long time, questioning or wondering if this is gonna work out or if it's gonna pan out. But I have to ask myself, like, hey man, if you want this to be good, it's gonna take some time. And one of my professors used to ask me if like he used to make this analogy where he's like, if you want the food to be good, are you gonna cook it fast or are you gonna take your time? That's all I needed to know. I was like, man, like, yeah, that's good. It says a lot of things. That simple thing just said a lot. That simple sentence said a lot of things right there. So I just like try to remember that whenever I'm in times of, if I feel anxious energy and I feel like nervous and I feel like I need to get things done now. That's true, man. Like, if you want something done right, done well, you take your time. You let it do its thing. Let it run its course instead of just trying to rush things. And I tend to do that often. And I try to, whenever I'm in those times, I feel like I'm rushing things or I'm putting things out that I feel like I could be doing better. That comes to mind. And maybe someone needed to hear that. I don't know, but I like to do meditation whenever I feel that type of energy of like, not feeling too hot. But yeah, so we're getting ready to train. I'm gonna take you guys along a nice little training session. Probably gonna get some sparring in, hopefully. If not, I'll talk to you guys back at the crib. We're gonna get some good food afterwards. Ate pretty light today. We had some rice in the rice cooker and had some seaweed. So I literally just had some rice and seaweed, some unagi sauce, and it was pretty good actually. So also want to start locking in on the diet. There's some things that I'm looking forward to, but I do want to make sure my diet is on point. With holidays and sweets, those could really take over and kind of knock you off track, knock you off course of where you want to be, and just dialing it in a little bit, before the new year, and just making sure we're focused. I was also looking on my phone, looking at some old pictures, and bro, like, we definitely have been taking the slow grind approach, but I feel like we have made a big difference in progress. I used to be overweight. I was like around 240 pounds. And then I remember I signed up for the gym, started working out, started doing cardio, started lifting weights with terrible form, might I add. And we were able to lose 60 pounds, dude, like in a span of like a year. And then, like anything else, there's ups and downs. I would gain weight, lose weight. I'm not saying the weight's everything, but it has to do with our journey and our progress to be able to improve. It's like we've been keeping it steady. It's picked up jiu-jitsu around last year, and then jiu-jitsu has been a great adage of kind of our health so far, when it comes to cardiovascular health, getting cardio in. Also the social aspect as well. I mentioned it before in other videos, but that social aspect is huge. Just showing up, they're the same people for the most part pulling up to class. You recognize the faces, you recognize, the people, you build relationships. And that's something that I missed from school that I didn't even notice that was there. You really don't notice that until you leave high school. Sometimes in college, you go to a few classes, you really don't know anybody. And it's a lot different than high school, because on high school, bro, you had like a seating chart. Maybe it switched up once or twice a year, depending on your teacher. And, it was a lot easier to make friends there, but it's still possible as an adult. You just have to be able to show up to the same spot and be able to interact with these people. So that's something that I really enjoy about jiu-jitsu as well. So I know we talked a lot right now, but for the most part, that's what jiu-jitsu helped me with. And those are kind of the thoughts that I'm having as of late, kind of just getting rid of that anxiousness, and kind of directing that into whatever you're doing. So let's get it. Talk to you guys at the gym, or I'll just, we'll cue the music.
Their lives again, their lives to pull us, 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 their lives lives again, their lives to pull us, their 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 lives again, their lives to pull us. Place to learn, their life it's up to you. Place to learn, keep moving on. It's up to you. Place to learn, their life it's up to you. Place to learn, keep moving on. It's up to you. Pull us, their lives again, their lives to 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 pull us, their lives again. Their lives to pull us, their lives again, their lives to pull us. Their lives again, their lives to pull us, their lives again, their lives to pull us. Their lives again, their lives to pull us, their lives again.
Thank you guys for watching today's episode. Usually I talk on the way back from training, kind of talk to you guys how it went. It was a really good training session. Back felt pretty good, but just had, a couple rounds and I felt like it was pretty good. But we're making some ground, just training, showing up, doing the thing. And appreciate anybody who tuned in, watched all the way to the end. Shout out to you. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Thank you guys. We out. Peace.